Salt Bae just lost 5.5 million euro. If you convert that, it's actually around $5.9 million that Salt Bae lost, and it's now going viral online. This new report is basically saying that Salt Bae's empire has finally crumbled. Yes, you heard that right. People are saying a lot of things. You can see one comment, "That's because it's overpriced rubbish. Went to his restaurant at the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul and it really wasn't anything to write home about." Another one said, "Guy is a full-on end, and the people that pay those prices are double thick." And another comment said, "Was this the guy who managed to make salting beef a fully fledged drama?" So just imagine, people's frustration has now turned into a full-on boycott against Salt Bae, and that's how he's now officially lost a bunch of money. So what's actually going on with the Salt Bae empire? I'll break it down in this video. Let's get started. Alongside a bunch of lawsuits and major controversy, Salt Bae has now taken a huge financial hit, this time from his London restaurant business. According to the final report from earlier years, here's what's actually going on with Salt Bae right now. And yeah, kinda wild when you look at the numbers. Basically, Salt Bae's UK restaurant arm, the company that runs his London steakhouse, posted a massive £5.5 million loss in 2024. And no, it's not because London stopped eating gold steaks. The main reason behind this loss is the money he had to burn closing down some of his international restaurants. Now here's the funny part. While the London branch itself was actually doing better, the overall company still went deep into the red. According to their official report, the turnover in London went up to just over £10 million by the end of 2024, compared to £9.3 million in 2023. Even the operating profit rose from £1.5 million to about £1.9 million, which means on paper, London was still working fine. But when you look deeper, the company had to deal with these so-called exceptional expenses, around £6.6 million in costs that came from shutting down two big US restaurants, one in Boston and another in New York's meatpacking district. Both of those locations were owned under the same UK company, but when they went down, London had to take the hit too. That's why, even after a decent year locally, final numbers showed a £5.5 million loss compared to a £1.7 million profit the year before. The official accounts even mention that their EBITDA dropped from £2.2 million down to £1.87 million. And if you remember, when Salt Bae first launched his Nusret London restaurant inside the Park Tower Knightsbridge Hotel back in 2021, it was meant to be this huge global flex, the ultimate influencer hotspot. But since then, things have only gone downhill. To give you perspective, back in 2022, the London restaurant made around £13.6 million in turnover, but that fell to £9.3 million in 2023, and then barely bounced back to a bit over £10 million in 2024. But why did all of this actually happen? In this video, a creator also talked about this.
The fame went to his head because right after he got famous with the meme, he starts taking pictures with celebrities. He opens a bunch of new restaurants, but then the reviews come out for the restaurants and they're terrible. Why? Because the food looks like this. They said, "Salt Bae, why did I say juicy but it tastes like a brick?" He said, "Hold on now." People said his restaurants were all flash, no substance. To top things off, he had bills up to $100,000. The food was expensive too. Salt Bae's response is pour on the flash, baby. He started posting a bunch more pictures on Instagram, shirtless, posing. They said, "Salt Bae, could we talk about the food though?" Salt Bae said, "Hold on, he gave me attitude? He talking smack?" Salt Bae said,
I completely agree with that creator. If you properly notice, Salt Bae is actually the kind of person who always flexed with celebrities to market his restaurant, making it a trend, but never really thought about food quality or reasonable prices. And that's exactly why, day by day, people started boycotting him. Like, if you look at the comments from people, one post says, "I went to the NYC location and had a burger and fries for like $100. One of the worst burgers I've ever tasted. Salt Bae was definitely all flash and gimmick." Another person commented, "TikTok fame burns hard and fast." Someone else wrote, "What? People aren't queuing out the door to pay £2,000 for a strip of beef dipped in some gold paint?" And another comment said, "I really can't understand how this screamingly obvious BS grift doesn't have any longevity. Weird." So just imagine, people seeing Salt Bae as nothing more than a trash butcher. His brand image has completely collapsed. And it's not just about the loss in revenue anymore. There are also a bunch of lawsuits filed against him. He's reportedly going to lose even more money.
Workers at his 20-plus restaurant locations are reporting horrific conditions, but one lawsuit alleges $230,000 in stolen tips. Salt Bae was forced to pay compensation in the lawsuit, but meanwhile, workers say that a culture of fear perpetuates these restaurants. restaurants where workers are routinely fired for asking questions about their pay or inquiring about tips. Remember that in the United States, tips earned by employees are their property, and managers with hiring and firing power cannot take those tips. They can't be in a tip pool, and they can't take your tips as punishment. As for Salt Bae, his restaurant seemed to be making money, but workers are suspicious of the poor condition.
So just imagine, there was a time when people actually agreed that Salt Bae's empire was worth billions.
After that guy has, a lot of locations, $1 billion valuation. He is, for a guy that can't even talk.
Yeah, just sprinkling.
I mean,
just sprinkling the whole time.
It's amazing what this guy has accomplished. You can't take anything away from him.
But now, with all these lawsuits and the huge loss of revenue, people are saying he's going broke, nothing else. This is living proof that if you try to play with people and fool them for fame and money, one day karma will hit you hard. And that's exactly what's happening to Salt Bae right now. Salt Bae fooled millions of people by wrapping basic food in edible gold. The same kind of gold you can buy online for under $20. But instead of charging a fair price, he marked it up 10 times higher, making people believe it was some kind of ultra-luxury experience, like the gold was mined straight from a royal vault or something. Honestly, I don't know what kind of delusional marketing strategy that is, but it worked for a while, until now. And it gets worse. Another major thing has just been exposed. Salt Bae has allegedly been making extra profit by overcharging customers through hidden service fees and insane tip charges. See, while some of the food prices may look moderate on the menu, the final bill shocks people because he adds massive service charges at the end, which many customers weren't even aware of. This isn't just overpriced food anymore. This is a tactic to rig people into paying way more than they agreed to.
My lunch totaled to $126.30, but with my tip, I spent a bit over $150, which was definitely costly, especially considering that it forgoed any beverages.
My steak was definitely overpriced, and my dessert was really overpriced. Now it's true, there are some unique courses on Salt Bae's menu, but they're just so expensive, and the gold stuff, oh my goodness. I mean, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it.
As you can see, the disappointment never ends. Almost everyone who walks into a Salt Bae restaurant ends up walking out with regret. It's like the moment they step outside, they take a deep breath, just trying to recover from the shock of what they paid for such an underwhelming experience. In this video, another well-known food reviewer has exposed the real experience of eating at Salt Bae's restaurant. He gives an honest review of the lunch menu, and the prices are insanely high compared to other high-end restaurants. And the worst part? The food doesn't even live up to the hype. This just proves that more and more people are finally seeing through the illusion Salt Bae built around overpriced steaks and gold flakes.
Recommend it? No. And I'm going to tell you something. If you're actually going to go to this restaurant, okay, and you're going to go in there, you're going there to be seen. Okay, there's no other way for it. You're going there to be seen, because if you're going in there and paying £690 for a tomahawk steak, you're clearly off your head. You need to go and see a doctor. There's no doubts about it. You need to go and see a doctor, because that is just a ridiculous price. You know, even regardless of the quality, there comes a point when you just turn around and say, no, just stop. You know, just stop the bus. I've got to get off, because that is just madness. £39.
Now you've learned about the insane prices, but what about the quality? Is Salt Bae actually serving food that's worth it? Honestly, I don't think so. Just because you cover food in gold doesn't mean it's going to taste better. Real taste comes from quality ingredients and skilled cooking, not flashy gimmicks. And that's exactly where Salt Bae's restaurant is failing. And this is just the beginning. This isn't all. In the future, you might actually see Salt Bae's entire empire sink like the Titanic. And that might really happen if he keeps using these shady tactics. So guys, what do you think about all of this? Let me know your thoughts down below.